me know.
So my second point is, as women, how can we make our relationships work in the diaspora when you're living far away from where you're born or your original country? Because the way you were raised, and then when you move to another country, there's certain things that you need to change. You have to adapt to the new place that you're in. Just to make a note that these are my opinions. I'm not saying I know better or anything. That's why I just say that anyone is welcome to suggest anything, or we can share ideas. So I'm just saying from my own personal point of view and from what I've experienced of what I've seen that works when you're in this country, or when you're in another country that you are not originally from. Because there's ways that we're raised here, and then when you come into this country, things are totally different. So let's say if you're in a relationship as a woman, you think, how can you make it work considering how we're raised and versus the culture here? Because the culture here teaches us that as men and women, we have to work, contribute more like the same with the bills and groceries in the house. And also, most of us, fellow Africans, we know that most of us are breadwinners back home. We take care of our parents, our siblings, our nephews, nieces. So how do you balance that, as an African woman living in the diaspora, with your pay and your husband's pay, how you can contribute? So all those things, those are the things that you should discuss with your partner or your boyfriend or someone that you're looking to settle with. All those things you should discuss before you even get deeper into the relationship. So that's another, from personal experience, that's another mistake that I made in my own relationship, because all those things were not discussed. We just went in, and then when you're in there, someone is doing their own thing. How they plan with their money is totally different from you. You don't sit down properly and budget as a couple to say, okay, what are we doing? How are we sharing the bills? And how are we taking care of family back home? This is why you find some people fighting over, you're sending more to your mother as a woman, you're sending more to your mother as a man. And also, it depends on the kind of men you are with as well, how they understand. Because some men, and the way we're brought up, they're always the head of the house, and they always have more power than you in decision making. And also, when you're a married woman, you base more on taking care of the husband's side. That's how we're raised. Although things have changed a lot now that we live in the diaspora, we live outside our own countries. So now on sharing money, on who's sending back home and all that. So all those things, they cause arguments and make life so difficult, because as a woman also, you don't want to abandon your family or your parents or your siblings, nieces, nephews, just because of marriage. You want it to work both sides. So all these things, if I had a chance, I would have looked into them and come to a decision whereby we agree on how things will go. Because definitely can cause big arguments, and then it can ruin the relationship, because the moment you start arguing about family, every person will say, my family comes first, my parents are more important than my partner or my husband. So if you want to come in between me and my family, then I don't think this will work. So all those things contribute in the problem that we face as women in the diaspora. I know that even those who are not in diaspora, they have the same issues, but I'm going to base more on those in diaspora who left their original place, because that's how my life is. So I want to base that on that, although I'm open to any points that affect even people who are not living away from home. So yes, all those things, they can cause problems. And also, sometimes you find that couples, you say that the man makes more money than the woman, or the woman makes more money than the man. So how do you balance that as well? It's another problem sometimes, because sometimes as women, when you make more money, what I've seen from personal experience, when you make more money than men, then you want to be the head of the house. You want to make all the big decisions, because you feel like when it comes to money, you are the one who makes more money, so you are the one who have to make more decisions. So that's my opinion on that. Every relationship is different, and I will not judge anyone how they do in their relationship when it comes to that kind of thing. But myself, I always feel like for relationships to work, from how we're raised in Africa, to make it work, I feel like as much as now there's equal rights in the relationships and all that, I feel like for that to work in that part, you have to sort of like give respect to your man. Even if you making more money, at least you still have to respect him. Don't let money come between you, that who makes more money. Because I've seen most of the time, if it's the man who makes more money, there's more problems of dominance, because usually men are the ones who were known that they would take care of the woman in the past. But things have changed. A lot more women are becoming independent. They've got careers. They're working so hard. So life is changing, so many things have changed. So to make it work as well, I think in that aspect, respect, that's where it comes in, that you're not going to judge that on man. You just try to plan a budget. The one who makes more, they might do more, but still there should be respect in that house for the relationship to work. Because if you use money as a tool to say, oh, the one makes more money, makes more decisions, then I don't know how that relationship can work. Maybe for some people it has worked, I don't know, but for me, I find it that later on the men will start feel emasculated, and then they won't be comfortable in the relationship. So it's nice for both parties to be comfortable and feel like they're being heard by the other person and they understand each other. So yeah, that's another part of relationship, that problem that I've seen in couples, and the families coming in between and all that. So that's another thing, as women, we should learn how to balance relationships, how we involve our families into our personal life, and how men bring in their relative into women's personal life. Yeah, so I was just saying about relationships, as a couple, as couples. I'm talking about couples or people in a relationship or serious relationship. We all have people in our lives who are special, like sisters, mothers, brothers. So another side that I see in relationships, that we all find those people very special in our lives, and we want to involve them as much as we can in our lives. But then when do you know the right balance of saying how involved are they in relationship? So I just reminding women that if you've got family who are close to you or involved in your marriage, you should know your boundaries on how they can be involved in your relationship, so that in such a way that they don't end up controlling your relationship or coming between you and your husband. They can advise you because they are a family, but the way they do it, it should be in such a way that it's not gonna cost you to disagree with your partner and lead to further problems. Like the men not comfortable saying your family is too involved into our relationship and all that. And same with the men as well, that sometimes men have sisters, mothers who are too controlling and too dominant. So myself, I'm going to talk about my experience as well. My previous relationship, where since I met divorcee, I had that problem as well about how involved should our mothers be in their relationships, and who should we listen to, if okay, mother there versus your wife. So when it comes to certain decisions about your life, who should the men listen to more? Because the Bible says when a man marries a woman, they have to be united with their woman, they become one. So who should the men listen to more? Is the woman right, or is the mother right? Because sometimes as mothers we don't know. Sometimes it's hard. I've seen for mothers, because sometimes we go through a lot of struggles raising our own kids. So sometimes that feeling that we have, that, oh, I struggled a lot sending my son to school and everything, now a woman comes in and just started to take over, and now I can't be too close to my son. So but how do we know when to stop as mothers or as mothers-in-law? How do you know when to stop involving ourselves? So I'm just trying to talk about various issues that we face in relationships. So I'm not gonna be so broad, because obviously I'm leaving room for discussions for other people to suggest, or because I'm trying to create something whereby us women can have open discussions, because I feel like there's nothing much out there that I see talking about this kind of matters openly, where women can share ideas. Of course, there's some, obviously, get people who inspire us in our community, especially as Zimbabweans. There's a lot of people, but I just feel like my experience, I want to do my part as well, because if you're passionate about something, you'll do anything to make it work. So that's my passion. That's why I just said, oh, I want to open this channel and see if I can manage to interact with women using this channel and sort of share ideas. I don't know everything, but I feel like my experience can teach one or two people, about life, and maybe to avoid making the same mistakes that I made, on the same mistake that were made about people I see, or the examples that I'll be giving as I keep on doing videos. So obviously after these videos, I'll keep on doing some more and reviewing what people are saying about them, and making a decision on what to talk about. So yeah, all those things that we face as women. So we should know our place and in relationship. That's another problem that I see, in most relationships, family. Myself, I got to a point whereby it was one of the reasons why I separated until divorce, because I realized that I can't come between certain issues. If it involves a mother and son, you can't come between. There's nothing much you can say, because you put them in a position whereby they have to choose between you and their mother. But deep down, you know that their mother always comes first, because that's the woman that bore them. The time when it gets to a point whereby it can't be fixed, and you know that you have to make certain decisions, because you can't really solve that one, because each time you come, someone say, that's my mother, you can't come between me and my mother. So it's really, really hard, for women who are faced with such situations.